7th month, I had gestational diabetes. They had made a plan to do a surgery for me where they would go in and clip those polyps that were on my uterine wall that was making conception difficult. On the aspect of what we call old wife tales, where people say drink this herb, do this exercise,
Yes.
do this. I remember one time where a good friend of mine, and I think she was coming from a place of love. Again, that's why I talked about that. I didn't really get pressure from my immediate family or my spouse's family, but I got from friends. I remember one time she came and she said, babe, my dear, we have to do something. And I said, okay, what are we doing? He said, we need to go and meet one mama.
Hi everyone, hello viewers. This is another episode of Open Table, and we're here to share something very interesting, personal, and something that I know that you're going to really learn a lot from. We're here to talk about the journey of what some people have passed through, some people are going through at this time. And today I'm here with my dear sisters, and we have something interesting to share with you. Particularly, I'm here with Izor and Okiki. Izor is going to take us through a journey she passed through some years back, many years back, and how she was able to overcome her experiences. And this journey is the journey of infertility. How was her experience? So Izor, I will say welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are now a guest today.
I'm not a guest today.
Because we are hearing from you, and she's happy to share her experience with us. So, Izor, you experienced infertility way many years back, and we want our viewers to learn from your experience. And we know you have something to share. So, what happened? How did it start?
Okay, so right off the bat, I didn't get married in my 20s. I got married in my 30s. So I already knew that I was a late bloomer. And after I got married, again, this is a cultural thing where they set a time clock for you, kind of invisible time clock, where people are looking in the next 9 months if there will be a baby in the hand. Now, not to cast aspersions on anybody or any culture. In my own culture, when you're getting married, your intended will bring a young female goat.
Oh,
Yes. And the expectation is that goat and yourself will be having kids.
we'll be pregnant at the same time,
Yeah,
you know?
something like that.
But will that be a male goat too?
No, they bring a female
Female goat.
Okay, so how would the female
No,
walk around and get
find their way.
That's a very funny
so
one.
just for laughs. And so I got married, and the expectation was there, and not the expectation, I would say, wasn't really coming from family, which was weird. My family were good; they didn't hassle me, but friends. I remember one time I was somewhere, and an interesting thing happened to me. In the moment I got married, I was very skinny and whatever, and I started adding weight inside marriage. And a lot of people thought that the weight was pregnancy.
Oh.
And I had experiences where somebody would say, "You don't want to tell us, Abi." And I'm like, "Tell you what? That something is coming now." And I'm like, "No, nothing is coming." And they would have this weird look. So I got a lot of pressure not from family, but from outside friends, and and so that kind of made me like, okay, you need to get going. You're a late bloomer and everything. So as always, you will go to the medical.
Okay, before I don't want to cut you short, before we go into how you got to all that, I want to find out about the pressure, because that one thing is societal pressure.
Yes.
And insensitivity of people.
Yes.
When it comes to infertility. So how did you take it? Like, how was that pressure, those questions making you feel?
they didn't make me feel so good because even though I know the people were saying it in jest, but at the back of my mind, it's almost as if, oh yeah, we are waiting, kind of thing. So
Making you feel like a failure.
no, it didn't make me feel like a failure because I knew ultimately I'll have babies. But it made me anxious such that every month when my flow would come, I would feel like, oh my God, this thing has come again. And then you're constantly, because I didn't have like a regular 28-day circle. So I couldn't set myself on the clock. And then you are in your office and you feel it, and you are like, that day is just spoiled for you because
It's here again.
You know, this thing is here again. You know. And on the lighter note, I remember one time I was telling myself, when you were a single girl, if you don't see it, you are antsy.
And that's not that you're married.
Exactly. So yeah, I wouldn't say I felt like a failure because at least one thing with my own infertility story was I wasn't on that thing for a very long time, but I also experienced what we will call secondary infertility because after I had after I got married and it took more than a year to have the first child. And then after I had the first child, it took another 6 years to have a second child. So in between that time, I've already gotten a child, but I wasn't getting a second child. And then there's that same, okay, what are we not doing?
Came back
right?
all over again,
Yeah,
circle.
exactly. And
So, yeah. So going through that pressure, because I remember when I had my own, I got married and I had a delay. Well, I won't call it a delay, but it was like after the first 2 months, I started getting worried, right? But I married in November, late November or middle of November. And by January, I was already anxious. You know, I remember so vividly that by March, and my husband used to, because we were not even in the same location. So he goes and comes
Right.
back. And I was always hoping, you know, we kind
Anytime
of
it
calculate
comes.
and prepare that, oh, this period, he was coming every weekend though. So only by February, I started feeling so bad. Anytime I see my visitor, my flow, I just feel so bad. So I can imagine families or women that go through like a year rather,
Right.
of
Many years,
some are many years, 12 years, 10 years, 15 years of infertility, what they are going through, because by the 5th month or 4th month, yes, I took in, and it was like I was so elated because there was a month I was so sure, oh, it has it stayed, it's here, and then I saw my period and I was, in fact,
just saw it remove.
I actually went to see a doctor, and I was like, I want to start treating myself. And doctor had to send me away from his office and told me that go and come back in a year and a half. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with you. And the next month I took it. So yeah, I can really resonate with how you'd have stayed for a whole year. So some of those people that were saying some of these things, was there any experience from your own experience of anybody that said something malicious to you?
No, not to me. Most of the things were said as jest.
Like jokes?
Jokes. Because like I said...
Or tease?
Like I said, I completely changed. It was... to put it a bit graphic, and I remember because I was working in a hospital, I remember one of our nurses telling me that don't buy... This was before I got married. She said, don't buy a lot of things, because I don't know how she knew. She just said, you are the type that once you get married, your body will change. And true to form, almost all my sizes changed. I was just, one moment I was slim fit, the next moment I was like a balloon.
The peace of mind that comes with
but I didn't really get anybody that was like maliciously saying anything to me. But even those things they said with jest. And okay, so let me also talk about the second time around after I'd had a baby, because I had my daughter, and like I said, there was this long period where I didn't have also, and I happened to be in that sphere of people that after they had their pregnancy, their abdomen did not really come back to that flat abdomen. Mine was a bit protruding, and so within that space of time, people will congratulate me a lot, and it was so disturbing. They'll say, the Lord has done it. What did he do?
No.
Like, you are expecting that, because it got so bad that I wouldn't wear form-fitting clothes because I didn't want to see that bulge, And so that was, it was.
Okay, let me take you back to the story of what happened during that first period of primary delay. How did you handle it? How did you now take care of it?
So I am and thankfully for my spouse too, he's the kind of person that believes that if there's a problem, we deal with it together. Because we went to see the doctor, I did hormone profile test, everything came out on the hormone side was okay, and that was when they found out, when they did the scan and everything, and found out that I had endometriosis, and that could be the possible reason why I wasn't achieving conception. He even went as far as doing semen analysis. So that's another thing, viewers, because most of the time infertility is seen as a woman's problem. So we're in dealing with it, always look at both.
The couples should go together, because we've had series of family. I work in a laboratory by profession, and we've had experiences where the woman will come to try to look for a solution to this infertility. She wants to test herself, and the advice is always go bring your partner, and the partner is not willing. He does not want to, because he feels he's okay. I get my normal erections and I release, so I feel there's nothing wrong with me. But they could have low sperm count and so many other. Some even have blockage in their system. They're in the tube, and they are not aware of it, and they just feel they are producing normal. Some are just producing water without any cells in it. So everybody, actually, the whole couple should actually put hands together to go for medical investigation. Okay, go ahead.
To continue, so when we found out that was what we were dealing with, they also wanted to find out if I had blocked fallopian tubes. So I went for what they call HSG. It's a kind of test where they would use a dye that would show the picture of your uterus. So they found that was okay, and they had made a plan to do a surgery for me, where they would go in and clip those polyps that were on my uterine wall that was making conception difficult. So that was the long-term plan. Now, this is where you cannot take away the God factor, because in between the time of the diagnosis and when I was scheduled to do that procedure to correct that polyp, I got pregnant. And the pregnancy had its issues, but at the end of the day, we had my daughter. And when I say the pregnancy had its issues, in the 7th month, I had gestational diabetes. So that's when your blood sugar levels are higher than normal, and that can affect the fetus or whatnot. And then we had the baby, and thankfully, but afterwards, there was kind of another silence, and just to the point where you were talking about. So after we had our first child, I moved away from. I got a job in another town, so I was away from my husband. But he was visiting, and then we couldn't achieve pregnancies, and that was another struggle where people will tell you all sorts, because people, again, coming back to what you were talking, people, they are coming from a good place, but sometimes it becomes pestering in their trying to be of help to you. I remember somebody telling me one time that by the time you meet with your spouse, don't just get up and walk away.
But that's true.
Yeah. So don't just get up and walk away. Put your leg on the wall.
Yeah.
Do this. It's helpful, but it can be stressful. And I know that when you are going through infertility of any level, and your mind is not at ease because you are anxious to achieve pregnancy, I feel it just wouldn't stay. I feel so.
But when you had your first child and waiting to have a second one, was the pressure you had, like the feeling, was the same as when you had none?
Because again, remember that the first time around, it was about a year and a half. The second time around was 6 years.
Yes.
So there was a lot of pressure.
Pressure, right?
Pressure with, okay, you guys don't want to have a second baby or what? And then sometimes you want to explain, sometimes you also don't want to explain, because even you don't know why you are not achieving pregnancy, because at least you know for a fact now that you have the ability to get pregnant. But why is it not happening the second time around? But the second time around, I didn't go do any other test. I was like, I already have one.
How did your husband take this? Because sometimes the pressure is on the woman from outside.
Right.
Even though we feel that people should mind their business, they should not put pressure on couples that are waiting to have, achieve conception. How did but there are some other homes where the spouse, particularly the husband, is the one feeling that you are with the problem, so you go solve the problem, and that now causes a lot of friction, problem, and yes. So how did
he was fantastic? As a matter of fact, I was the one putting the pressure on him. I was the one let's get this thing going, let's get cracking. I have to get pregnant. He was fantastic. He didn't, as far as he was concerned, it will happen
when it happens.
And he was also very supportive, because when I would say, let's go do this test, he would up and leave. Let's go do this test, he would up and leave. Thankfully, I didn't have issues with that. He was very, very supportive. And the pressure, like I said, I got from friends, and so on. Some people tell that you didn't start on time. So what are you waiting for? I've always been that kind of person. I knew from the jump that I didn't want to have more than 2 kids. I knew. I didn't, there's no voice that will come and tell me have a third one. So I knew from the jump. And thankfully I had a spouse that was also understanding in that regard, that okay, 2 is fine. So I didn't, but people would ask you, if you don't have your kids at so and so age, it would happen at so and so age. Because my second child, I had him when I was 40. So I was already way. And so you can imagine all the pressure that it's been hard and all that. Yeah. So he was fun.
I'll ask Okeke this question. What do you think people that tend to put pressure, like family or friends on the couples that are waiting, what do you think about that?
Some might be asking not with the aim of putting pressure. Some are asking out of in the place of love. Like, this is someone this is someone you care for, you just want to ask. At times some might ask, maybe they've had someone that found themselves in similar situation, and they knew what helped out. So that's So at times when people ask, we should not see them as prognosing into our business. So there's a way you ask a question that you can tell if it's from a place of gossip or a place of love. Yeah. For example, if you have parents that cares, they want to know. It's not because you are their child and they know, and you let them know, we are also trying. And so, but I think it's the way you ask, or the relationship you have with that person, that would determine if you are supposed to ask or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel that even though I feel if you can 100% mind your business, honestly, because knowing what I know now, we all know it's a lot of pressure on whoever is waiting and is in that situation. So as much as possible, once you are not the mother or the father of that couple, tend to try and mind your business if you can. But if you are really concerned, like maybe you are a very, very close friend, like your best friend, your bestie, your what ride and die kind of relationship, then ask it with a lot of genuinity and caution, and with wisdom, because you are asking from a place of love, but indirectly you might not be the only person that has asked that same question. Right. So one way or the other, the person is feeling this question is coming again, and is putting pressure on that person psychologically and emotionally. So ask it with wisdom, and when you ask once, don't over ask the question, because there's people that are not emotionally intelligent, and they tend to ask a lot of pressure. Every month they want to know, have you found it? Is it still happening? And all this is to let people know that it's a very sensitive, and not a very pleasant situation to be in, and we should also learn to be sensitive. So emotional intelligence is very important. If your sister, your brother, your family relation is delayed in having children, let's do it from a place of wisdom, even when we're asking in love.
Yeah.
Okay, now there are situations where we know that during infertility, people recommend all sorts of remedy, so many things. Some will say drink this herb, some will say light this candle, some will say go through this religious part. They will say, so many things. So what did you experience all that
I did
during the
actually.
first and second?
In the
And
first
which
time.
ones did you practice?
None of the above.
You just faced
None
your
of the
medical.
above. So on the aspect of what we call old wife tales, where people say drink this herb, do this exercise,
Yes.
do this. I remember one time where a good friend of mine, and I think she was coming from a place of love. Again, that's why I talked about that. I didn't really get pressure from my immediate family or my spouse's family, but I got from friends. I remember one time she came and she said, babe, now, sorry, I'm using colloquial language, but she said, my dear, we have to do something. And I said, okay, what are we doing? He said, we'll go and meet one. I will say it what it is, and then I will explain it. So we need to go and meet one mama.
Traditionalist.
So this is a traditional midwife, as it is. That and I said, so when we meet her, what are we going to do? He said she will massage you. What does the massage do? She would massage she will massage the uterus or the baby into your womb or something. It was a weird conversation. And I was like, okay, so how are we going to do this? She said, when we are going to that mama, we don't dress like we are women that are educated. We will dress down. We will just look
Dress local,
indigenous to go to her. And I was looking at this, my dear friend, and I was saying, you are educated. I didn't say this to her, but I was saying that you are educated. Why would you tell me this? And I remember telling her that, babe, I can't do this. First of all, I don't understand it. And this didn't happen to me, but it happened to another friend of mine where they actually told her that pregnancy will go into your leg.
Oh,
yes. And they have to massage it back into your womb.
Wow, really?
And I was telling that to my friend, I said, you have a BSc.
how did you come across it?
I said, you have a BSc. How did you get your mind to that space? She was like, I don't know. So we know in parts. I said, no. On this matter, we don't know in parts. There is nowhere in science that the pregnancy will go into your leg. So that's another thing with infertility, especially when it's protracted, when it's for long. Delayed. You see people now start to doubt the information they have because they get to a point where desperation sets in. And then they listen to every tale. Somebody will say, do this, you run and go and do this. Somebody say, go to this church, you go there. There's nothing wrong with going to church. But again, out of desperation, the person is moving from one point to the other. So I experienced that. Then the other one I talked about where they say after intercourse, raise your leg up. I remember one colleague told me once, because I used to, when I stand up, because I was also working in the lab, when I'm tired, I would stretch backwards. And I was doing this, and the guy, this is even a guy, he now said, no, oh God, I don't know how to
go ahead, don't do that.
Okay, they say that, I will say it in pidgin, and then I'll translate to English because of our viewers that are not pidgin understanding. He said, no, they do am, I make you never get belly.
Oh my goodness.
That's
If somebody said that to me, and I said, what did I do? So what he said is, don't stretch backwards. That's why you're not achieving conception. And I said, how has that got to do with anything? He said, because when you bend backwards, your womb is exposed. Now, this is somebody that is a fellow lab scientist.
I've heard that too before, but
So
that's about pregnancy.
Again, it comes down, they are coming from a place of love, but it puts you in a weird phase, a weird state of mind, because you're like, oh, I don't know, those were the experiences I had. Nobody told me to go and drink any weird substance, so thank God for that.
Well, yeah, sometimes it depends on the circle that you, and I'm so happy that you had a very supportive spouse, because that is a very big plus. So shout out to the men out there who are very supportive when especially when there's infertility in the home, and they are even out there ready to find out what the problem
Exactly.
is from each, whether it is from them or from their spouse. And if there's any situation that is even recognized, then they are able to like stand with one another and support each other. So shout out there to all men, supportive husbands, and a big thumbs up to you, particularly Isa's spouse. I know you're watching this video, so you're giving me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
So yeah, any other input about this aspect?
For every woman experiencing infertility, hold on there. The baby is coming sooner than you expect. But in the process of waiting, pray to God, seek medical help, know what exactly and be hopeful, like be open-minded. Don't let society put pressure on you. Don't let families put pressure on you. Life goes beyond raising kids alone. You own yourself that happiness, and you own yourself the strong mind to be able to achieve what you are actually looking up to. If you know you are in the circle of people that are putting pressure on you, deassociate yourself from them, move away from them. Like, just try to avoid being in contact with them so that they won't have to pop that question into you. Celebrate others. Like, when you celebrate people, it comes that joy comes to you closer than you expect. I wish you well. Stay strong. You are loved.
I also want to add this, although this is not my story, but keep an open, because another thing that I find is some people say, oh, they are waiting on God, which is not bad. But by the time you've done your medical analysis, and if it shows that, okay, you're not viable. I don't know if I'm using the right word.
There are some,
or there are other
factors
serious
that is
limiting
affecting.
factors. There are the other options of IVF, especially if time is far gone.
Yeah,
Because that's another thing that is like a hush word. People don't want to talk about it. They'll say no IVF. If that is the person's scenario, please explore IVF options.
Surrogacy is
another thing. And I know of people that went through the IVF circle, and the whole hormonal treatment jump-started their own hormonal balance and everything, and they were able to achieve pregnancy. So, because again, sometimes culturally people will say, oh no, IVF, no. And they put it so far away that by the time they are coming to that conversation, a lot of time has gone, a lot of stress have gone in. So that's
exactly. That's a good one. And Okiki was mentioning surrogacy. Surrogacy is another major support that people that are experiencing, and you've been waiting 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years, even before it happens, which might still happen. We've heard of incidents, testimonies where people have kids after 12 years of infertility, 15 years of infertility, even naturally, even if they don't go through any of these processes. But while you are still waiting for this, there's no harm in exploring surrogacy. And somebody else
adoption,
take your carry up the baby, and you have your own child. All children don't have to be formally biologically from you,
right?
And even with surrogacies, they can be achieved biologically. Take your eggs, and you get a donor that helps you to carry the pregnancy.
It's just the carriage process that is not you.
So it might not be the carrier, but then that is your baby. And also, like you mentioned, adoption is another option that one should even explore. I mean, we can have kids that are not biologically from you, but they are your children because you took care of them, you raised them up, you brought them, and you are helping in life. Because there are a lot of motherless babies, children in orphanages that are looking for good parents to parent them, and we can adopt those children. And even those that have kids can still adopt. But when you are even experiencing infertility, adopting and touching a life will help, because there are some social norms, societal beliefs that almost wants to frown against adoption. Oh, you want to go and raise another person's kid, you have your own, and people like, oh, God forbid, it's your child that must be your child, don't bring in, you don't know the spirit the child is coming in. All sorts of things. But
that's a lot.
That's a whole thing to deal with. But Well, from me, I want to encourage adoption. I want to encourage surrogacy or IVF and explore all these options. These options are there to support and make your family whole like you want it. And hopefully, if you still want to conceive on your own, personally, aside aside IVF, yes, it will still happen.
It will still happen.
Yeah.
It will still happen. It will happen when it will happen.
Yes.
And I know that it can be tough because I've been in that place where people will say, okay, just relax your mind. It can be tough, but don't get overwhelmed with the thought of it, the anxiety of it. Just look for something to keep your mind busy. Continue on your career
Live your
path.
life.
Live your life.
Yeah,
Exactly.
live your life.
Continue
Yeah,
on
make yourself happy.
Make yourself happy. Whatever goals you want, achieve them. Because the truth is, when those kids come, you will have to let go of some things to take care of them.
Yes.
So keep your life going. Don't stop your life until the baby comes, and it will come when it will come.
All right. So thank you so much, Izo, for sharing this personal story with us. We really appreciate it because we know that a life has been touched. Someone has been encouraged. Somebody has received some blessings from what you have shared today. And we are grateful that it turned out that you now have 2 kids, 2 beautiful, wonderful, a boy and a girl that are really doing well. So thank you, viewers, for listening in and encouragement. We have said that. Remember to like our videos, share and comment. But most importantly, press that subscribe button. We want you to continue to support us because that is the only way this video will continue to grow and YouTube will continue to push our videos out there. 80% of you are watching this video. You have not yet subscribed.
Please subscribe. Please.
And thank you so much. And for our returning viewers and returning subscribers, we love you. Our heart goes out to you. Please leave a comment of love in our comment section. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.